Namo Buddhaya, Happy Vesak, and welcome to the Buddha Dharma TV program on this sacred Vesak day. I am Lisa Chu. Prince Siddhartha was born on the full moon day of the month of Vesak. He attained supreme Buddhahood on the full moon day of Vesak, which is known today as the month of May in the modern calendar. The Supreme Buddha also passed away and attained the final liberation of Nibbana on the full moon day of Vesak. Thus, the three most important events in the life of the Buddha, his birth, enlightenment, and the passing away into Paranibbana, all took place on the full moon day of Vesak. Buddhists throughout the world celebrate these three sacred events on this blessed full moon day. The Buddha attained final liberation into Nibbana 2,570 years ago. Today, we gather with faith, gratitude, and devotion to honor the Supreme Buddha and to reflect on his timeless teaching. We begin our program with a Buddhist sermon about the Buddha and his noble teaching, known as Buddha Dharma. Now, here is Professor Bdtv to talk on the topic, what is Buddhism of wisdom, compassion, peace, and liberation for all beings?
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Welcome to the Buddha Dharma TV program. Today is Vesak. 2,570 years ago, the Supreme Buddha attained the eternal bliss of Nirvana. As a prince, he was born on a full moon day of Vesak, the month of May. And he attained the enlightenment on a full moon day in the month of Vesak in May. He passed away or attained the Parinirvana in the month of Vesak on a full moon day, 2,570 years ago. Today, millions of people around the globe celebrate this event, holding retreats, practicing meditation, observing precepts, distributing food items and all basic needs of some people, and in lots of noble activities to honor the Buddha. Buddha said, one who respects me, venerates me, is the one who practices my teaching. So the Buddha's teaching remains a unique teaching. Therefore, it is good on this day to learn what is Buddhism, to question and go deep into topic and little bit broaden our knowledge about Buddhism. At first, this question may seem very simple. However, if asked among different groups of people, it can create much discussion and disagreement. In many countries of East and South Asia, where Buddhism has existed for centuries, people naturally understand Buddhism as a religion. over time, Buddhism became firmly established there as part of religious life and culture. However, when Westerners began to study and become interested in Buddhism, they noticed that it also contains qualities that span several different fields of knowledge in Western thought. Since Buddhism has the clear purpose of ending suffering, some people did not want to call it a religion because they associated religion with superstition or unquestioning belief. Some considered Buddhism is mainly a way of thinking, and therefore it was seen as a philosophy. Others noticed, still others observed Buddhism, its practical and experience-based approach to reality, and considered it similar to a science. In fact, this ideas, beliefs, we discussed, not in details. Buddhism presents mainly as a kind of scientific psychology. But before understanding why Buddhism is viewed in so many different ways, we first need to examine how these ideas developed. To understand Buddhism as a religion, we must need to look at some important ideas and how they arose in human history. One common fact of human life is that our desires often conflict with reality. In other words, life does not always happen the way we want. Because of this, people reluctantly, naturally, try to change their circumstances. So they can gain happiness and satisfaction. But to change circumstances, power is needed. Nothing comes without power. In early times, in the ancient time, human beings believed they themselves had very little power. Of course, it's a good thing. Over nature and life. We have a limited power over nature and life. They thought supernatural beings such as gods, spirits, angels, devils, and the likes, and other unseen forces, controlled events and magical practices. They could persuade or force these powers to help them. This is what is basically called magic. The central idea behind magic is the belief that supernatural beings can be controlled, commanded, threatened, or compelled through special practices. Later, as human thinking developed further, people began to feel that human beings could not actually control these supernatural powers. They realized such powers were far greater than themselves. Instead of trying to command them, people believed they should humble themselves and ask for help through prayers, worship, offerings, sacrifices, bowing down, and devotion, etc. This new attitude became the beginning of religion. In religion, people no longer believe they can control supernatural beings. Rather, they seek favor and assistance from powers greater than themselves. As religious thinking continued to develop, people began to believe that these higher powers favored good and ethical life became an important part of religion. People believed that moral living would bring blessings in this life and also better results after death. That was the belief. And punishment after death. One might be reborn in a better condition, reach heaven, or avoid suffering and punishment after death. Later, people began to feel that they should not wait until the next life to experience happiness and spiritual benefits. They wanted peace and fulfillment in this very life. Because of this, some believed that by giving up pleasures, enduring hardship, and practicing self-control, they could achieve happiness. Good. Enlightenment, or even union with divine reality during their lifetime, in this very lifetime, rather than after death. This also included the idea of discovering the true nature of existence and uniting with truth itself. In many religions, especially in the Western world, people gradually came to believe that the universe is orderly and meaningful rather than random. This led to the belief that one supreme power created and controls everything. This belief is called monotheism, I think. Monotheism, yes. So, the belief in one creator God. This idea was first strongly developed among the ancient Hebrews and later became central to Christianity and Islam. From this belief grew the field known as theology, which focuses on understanding God and divine truth. If we look carefully, we can see that all religions, in one way or another, seek to address the problem of human suffering and dissatisfaction. Human suffering and dissatisfaction. Different religions may use different methods and explanations, but their basic aim is similar. Gradually, human beings began to understand that the real solution lies not in controlling the outside world, but in learning to control themselves in the end. Religion is deeply connected with self-control and inner transformation. I discuss in so briefly, in a nutshell, how the ideas came into modern level rather than believing in something somewhere is controlling our day-to-day life. Therefore, I wanted to explain the difference between Buddha's teaching and other traditional teachings. Not to promote that this is alone is right or that alone is not right. No, not something like that. But to understand the difference between Buddhism and others' beliefs. That's the reason I discuss in a nutshell the history of religions, thoughts. In this sense, Buddhism can also be understood as a religion. However, Buddhism is unique because it places special emphasis on understanding, controlling, and transforming the mind. Buddhism teaches that suffering, discomfort, and conflict are not mainly caused by external conditions, but by our own emotional cravings and attachments. In Buddhism, this craving is called tanha. This craving is called tanha, the word in Pali language. Therefore, Buddhism can be called a religion, but it is not a theology-centered religion. Buddhism does not mainly focus on worshipping a creator God. Instead, it focuses on understanding the mind, overcoming craving, and ending suffering through wisdom and mental development. Because Buddhism does not strongly emphasize theology, many Westerners did not see it simply as a religion. Instead, they viewed it as a philosophy, a psychology, a science or a practical way of understanding life and the human mind. There's a vast, a deep teaching to understand this vast, deep teachings of the Buddha. On this Vesak day, I invite you. The way the Buddha invited 2,570 years ago, Yo Dhammam Passati Somam Passati. If you want to see who the Buddha is and investigate my teaching and learn my teaching, one who sees my teaching, he who sees me. May you all be blessed with good health, happiness and success. Sukhi hotu.
We now present you a Buddhist devotional chant. These sacred verses, known as the stanza of the Lion of Men, were recited by Princess Yasodhara, Prince Siddhartha's wife, to their son Rahula during the Buddha's visit to Kapilavatthu after his enlightenment. Through these verses, she described the Blessed One's majestic physical features and his exalted virtues. Buddhist devotional chant, Narasiha Gatha, recited by Visharat Srima Ratnayaka of Sri Lanka.
Narasiha Gatha. Chakvaran Gitarat Supadu Lankan Mandita Ayat Panni Chamar Chat Vibhusita Padu Isahi Tui Pita Narasiho Sakya Kumar Varo Sukhmalo Lakhan Vithata Punna Sariro Lokahitaya Gato Naraviro Isahi Tui Pita Narasiho Punna Sasankani Bhamka Vanno Devanarana Piyo Naranado Matte Gajinde Vilasita Gami Esahi Tui Pita Narasiho Kattiya Sambhava Anga Polino Deva Manusa Namasjita Padu Sila Samadhi Pasindita Citto Esahi Tui Pita Narasiho Ayat Tunga Susandita Naso Gopamukho Abhinila Sunito Indradanu Abhinila Bhamukho Esahi Tui Pita Narasiho Vatta Sumatte Susandita Givo Siha Hanumita Raja Sariro Kanchana Sujja Viyuttama Vanno Esahi Tui Pita Narasiho හිංගුල බන්දු සෝරත් සුජිව් විසති විසති සීත සුදන්තෝ ඒ සහිතොයි හැපි තානරසිහෝ අංජන වන්න සුනීල සුකේසෝ කංචන පත්ත විසුද්ධලාලාටෝ ඕසදි පණ්ඩර සුද්දසුන්නෝ ඒ සහිතොයි හැපි තානරසිහෝ ගච්ඡති නීල පාතිවිය ඡන්தோ තාරගනා පාරිවේදිත රූපෝ සාවක මජ්ජ කාතෝ සාමනින්දෝ ඒ සහිතොයි හැපි තානරසිහෝ.
That concludes today's program. If you have any questions about the contents of our broadcast, please feel free to reach out to us at info@Bdtv. Our dedicated team remains committed to sharing the profound teachings of the Buddha, helping you walk the path of wisdom and enlightenment. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again. Namo Buddhaya.